Atlanta United Fan TV, AJ here with your player ratings for SKC versus Atlanta United. And guys, what a solid win that we saw at Children's Mercy Park. And I mean, it's something, it's a little vintage. It's a little bit where it's a depleted SKC lineup, so we do have to take that as that caveat. But yeah, I mean, Atlanta United, they look very good in attack. They look more direct. They still had a lot of possession and used that possession at times to a very lethal way. And I think after about 40 minutes, we started to see Atlanta start to actually play somewhat reminiscent of Atlanta of old. And with that, I mean, let's get right into the player ratings then. So Guzan between the sticks, he had a pretty quiet night. SKC didn't have a whole lot of shots on target at all. There was one on target that he made the save on. Guzan was there to be equal to it. But other than that, he had a pretty quiet night. Second half, a lot quieter than I thought it would be. I thought SKC would have at least mounted something, but I guess it's that kind of inexperienced and kind of depleted lineup that they had. Didn't really do too much to really ask a lot of questions from our defense nor our goalkeeper. So tonight, Brad Guzan, solid night. I give him a 7.5. And let's get to Escobar, our right back tonight. It was a good sight to see Escobar just barging forward, and then of course on defense still doing his diligence. Not as much to do on the defensive side of things tonight, but I saw a lot of runs. A lot of the outlet balls were pretty much directed towards Escobar. So yeah, for him today, I mean, he doesn't need to have an assist or a goal to have a really good night, and I think he had a solid night, and it was a 7 for me. So let's move on to the center backs. Miles Robinson, he was a wall tonight, and literally he took a ball to his face, and I mean, he didn't probably know a ton about it, but I mean, he was well placed at the right time every time tonight, and it looked silky a little bit at times, dispossessing players off the ball and then making that easy pass to the right person. And yeah, I mean, he had another solid night. I mean, just what else hasn't been said about Miles Robinson this year? He has just been a rock in the back. And I think he gets an 8 from me, especially for that ball to the face. I mean, that is the definition of taking one for the team. And next to him, LGP, he had a pretty quiet night. I mean, he was making a little bit of headway into midfield from the back line and trying to make some things happen. He didn't have too much that he was really worried about because, yeah, they didn't really attack him too hard on his side, but he made the defensive contributions when necessary, and I think he had also a really good night, and so he gets a 7 from me. Now Michael Parkhurst, he played at left back tonight, the surprise inclusion tonight over Breck Shea, and I think he had a pretty good night. It was not the best foray as defensively, but he was able to make some blocks and interceptions when he really needed to. In terms of going forward, I think the second half was a little bit more quiet, but the first half he had a cross with his left that kind of skirted past him that PT could have finished but it is what it is. And I think Parky had a pretty good night, like I said, and I think he gets a 6.5, a decent showing from the left side. Now, moving into midfield, Remedi got the start over Jeff Loretowitz, who has been solid, and so I think he was probably rested for the Wednesday match against Toronto FC. But Eric Remedi, just coming in like he didn't miss a beat. He was just a bulldog in midfield, chasing down and pressing their SKC's midfield and their playmaker. And yeah, I mean, he came off 70 minutes, and so yeah, I mean, pretty quiet, but he was doing what he does. Pretty silky with the ball as well, and intercepting a lot. And I think he had a solid night, 6.5. Now to Nagby in the midfield, what a match for Nagby. I think he's always bossing that midfield. It really is just, he's been just tremendous this season, as he has been for us last season as well. But I think he's an unheralded guy who just really connects this defense to the attack so well. And he was really finding a lot of spaces in between the lines, really just bossing things, really dictating things. And he was the one who gave the ball to Barco when he took that shot, and that Joseph eventually put in. And yeah, I mean, he was able to find Barco just passing through the lines like that. It's what you want to see from Darlington Nagby. And again, he's just unflappable on the ball. You just can't get the ball off of him. It's just amazing to see. And I think for me, he gets an 8.5. Also with the hockey assist, I think, with the Barco to Joseph. And yeah, so also Barco in the middle, I think really just a tremendous match from Barco. And I think, yeah, he will be a big miss when he goes to the U20s World Cup with Argentina on Monday. And so, it will be a massive miss, because the industry that he's shown, the creativity that he's shown this season, he's going to be gone for 7 matches. It's going to be a large miss. But to this match and his performance, I mean, it was his strike that was parried by Tim Melia that Joseph eventually put in. And it was hit with such malice that he wasn't able to make a clean save. And then his strike from distance, from outside of the box, that is just a beauty. And it's what's been kind of wanted from Ezequiel Barco since last season. We've all wanted him to, when he gets into those very dangerous positions, to shoot more, to pass, and get that final ball. And tonight, I mean, just immaculate. And on top of that, he was running at the defense. He looked dangerous all night, played the whole 90. I mean, just really good performance from Barco. Man of the match performance for me, and it is a 9.5 for Barco from me. And moving to the right midfield, it is Julian Gressel, who had a really nice match where, he was doing what he usually does. I mean, just good service. He is industrious in getting back and doing some of that dirty work as well. But, no final ball from him tonight, but a solid performance. And he made that selfless run so that Joseph could get his second, because, yeah, he created the space for Joseph to be able to shoot in the box. So, yeah, I mean, a solid performance, a 7.5 for Julian Gressel. And moving to the left side, PT Martinez, he had, I think, a little quieter night. It wasn't where he wasn't involved in the match or anything like that. He definitely, he had his moments here and there, and he had a strike that just went over or to the side. And, yeah, I think, we're going to need to rely on a PT Martinez a lot more when Ezequiel Barco is away with Argentina. And so he was, it was this. Yeah, he was kind of played in the middle as the 10. But I think you saw Ezequiel Barco, yeah, he kind of moved in from the left side a lot, cut in, and so they were pretty interchangeable in that sense. And PT Martinez kind of had a little bit more quiet night, was subbed off. I think it was in mind for Toronto and Orlando over the weekend to save his legs a little bit. He was a little bit more, light hearted on the bench this time, I think, because he had a buddy with Eric Remedi sitting on the bench. So, he wasn't as upset as last week when, our buddy Jay Riddle kind of posted that video of him on the bench when he was kicking the seat, and Breck Shea was looking back and consoling him. But, PT Martinez gets a 7 from me for this match. But Joseph is, when he scores in bunches, and that's what you like to see. I mean, that's something that going into the rest of this month, you want him to be in hot form. And with a brace tonight, I mean, he was selfless. When Tim Mealy came out and it was that rebound with that parried shot, he put his body on the line and he was pretty much trampled. And it was, or just bowled over. But, I mean, either way, Joseph Martinez, he was brave in that moment. Down for a minute, but definitely not out. And then later on in the match, he scores the death knell in the match, where it really put this match away and made the whole rest of the match pretty quiet. But Joseph Martinez, I think for me, he gets a 9 with the brace. He was pretty involved in the play, but I mean, it's one of those. Ezequiel Barco, just was so industrious tonight. It's hard to beat an Ezequiel Barco performance tonight for me. Moving on to the subs that came on, you had Tito Villalba and also Jeff Lorenowitz that came on for PT and Eric Remedi. Tito Villalba, he had a counter that it was an almost. He was trying to slip in a Joseph, if I recall, and it was just almost there, but not quite. It went right into the defender, and it was a little disappointing. But not a whole lot from Tito Villalba in this match. But I think we'll need to rely on him when Ezequiel Barco is away as well. So I think for me, he gets a 6 for his performance tonight. And also, Jeff Lorenowitz came on. Kind of quiet on that end, doing what he does and seeing out the rest of the match. And, I think we will need to rely on a Jeff Lorenowitz and Eric Remedi and Darlington Nagbe very much for this stretch in May. Also a 6 for me from Jeff Lorenowitz. And also Breck Shea, he came on and, had a decent showing as well. He was winning some headers almost finally in that sense. And, not too much going forward. It was pretty quiet in the second half, and SKC wasn't really asking too many questions. So, also a 6 for Breck Shea. Now, in terms of Frank de Boer and his rating, I think he got his tactics spot on today. I mean, credit to him. He set out the team in a good way, in solid defensively as well. I think the formation was what you wanted to see, and how they played was very direct. It was very also, in a way where the possession was being used in the right way, especially after the 40th minute. I think they were probing all night, and they put in a solid performance away on the road. I think it's something that we want to see from the team and Frank de Boer, especially that, that solid of a performance. Again, it's against a depleted SKC side, but you still have to do the business on the road. And finally, the Atlanta United fans, you could hear them in voice tonight at Children's Mercy Park. And big shout out to all of those 17s that made it out for that. And yeah, repped hard and for this 3-0 win on the road. But that'll do it for the player ratings. Let us know your player ratings in the comments below. What did you agree with? What did you disagree with? Let me know, and I look forward to reading all your comments. But remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Smash that like button and share this video because it really does help us a lot. And we'll see you in the next video.